Good evening. I'd like to welcome you and call to order the September 12th Port Orchard City Council regular meeting. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are to the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions or subtractions this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Any further discussion of the agenda this evening? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. We are to our first citizen comment period for items on the agenda. Is anyone wishing to comment on any item that is on the agenda this evening? None, we'll move on to our consent agenda. Motion to approve consent.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion and a second by Councilmember Lucarelli on to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any discussion of the consent items? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We don't have any presentation, don't have any public hearings, and we are to a big moment here in the city of Port Orchard. Mr. Martin, I think you're here for your last meeting tonight.
It's a big moment, so I am. So I'm here to present the business item 7A, the confirmation of the mayor appointment of Noah Crocker as city finance director. The mayor is seeking council confirmation of the appointment of Noah Crocker to the position of city finance director. Port Orchard Municipal Code 2.08.010 authorizes the mayor to appoint a city treasurer subject to a confirmation vote by a majority of not less than 4 members of the city council. The city has dropped the title of treasurer in favor of the more descriptive working title of finance director, which better describes the job and its responsibilities. Mr. Crocker graduated from the University of Washington with undergraduate and master's degrees in finance and comes to Port Orchard with additional experience working in the office of the state treasurer and for the Washington State Transportation Commission. Most recently, he served as the finance director at the city of Yelm. The position is a position of public trust, receiving and dispersing the funds of the city. The incumbent provides financial projections and forecasts to assist in long-range finance planning, provides municipal banking services, investment of public funds, and debt management, advises the mayor, department heads, and city council regarding the budget and its preparation, coordinates and prepares the annual finance report, while providing ongoing budgetary control and budget amendments. The finance director supervises finance department employees, human resource staff, and the information technology department. An oath of office will be administered by Clerk Reinerson. The recommendation is Mr. Patonsu requests the confirmation of the appointment of Noah Crocker as city finance director. Thank you.
Mr. Clausen?
Mr. Mayor, I move to confirm Mayor Patonzu's appointment of Noah Crocker as the city's finance director effective October 1, 2017.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Donlin. And further discussion of the appointment? I'd just like to say how pleased I am with Noah's been here about a month now. It's fitting in well. Fortunately, the staff all like him, so I think we'll keep him. He's doing a fine job, and Mr. Martin will be sorely missed. He's been a tremendous asset to the city over the years and brought us through some very difficult times.
Hear, hear.
So yes.
I just wanted to compliment Alan on the smooth transition. You don't always have the luxury of doing this kind of a transition, so it was well played.
Yeah, and I appreciate the support of the council all these past 8 years, and even for the opportunity to reach out to Noah and then your opportunity to work with him over these last several weeks. So very good. It's well done.
So technically, you're still on the hook through the end of this month, and
The bank accounts will all move, it says October 1st. That's so that all the bank accounts and the state accounts will all move to NOAA on October 1st because there's paperwork that has to be filed, and we'll do that the rest of the week, and that's in works. Then my last day actually physically here, working for NOAA, I guess, will be October 5th.
I'd like to echo thank you for
Oh, thank you.
doing a great job, and it's been, as chair of the finance committee, it's been wonderful to work with you over these years. And Noah, you got some big shoes to fill.
No pressure.
You'll do a great job.
Yeah, no, I know I do, and I want to take this opportunity to thank Mayor Patonsu, the council, and outgoing treasurer Alan Martin for this great opportunity with Port Orchard. I'm really excited. It's been a great month to be here with Alan. I always think of Alan as a mentor, and so I've always referred to him as Alan Mentor rather than Alan Martin. Because it's really true. He's really been a great mentor for me throughout my entire career, and I feel really privileged that I get to show him the door. Very lucky. No, thank you all.
Yeah, congratulations to you both, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, you guys are gonna do really well. I'm just gonna have a lot of fun watching.
I guess I'd like to say to you, Alan's mentorship just didn't begin and end with Noah. I mean, it's been the entire city staff. We joke about Uncle Alan, but he's, as Mayor Patonsu said, he's led us through some tough times, and he's helped staff manage some, especially leadership staff, through some really difficult times, giving good advice, and it's much appreciated.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you all.
Okay. We are about to vote to confirm Noah Crocker as the city's finance director. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Congratulations, Noah.
Thank you.
Brandy, are you going to administer that oath? Cool. Noah to step up to the podium.
See if I can. Probably doesn't reach very well.
Okay, so I need you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. So I, Noah Crocker,
I, Noah Crocker,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States of America
of the United States of America
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
and general laws of the state of Washington,
and general laws of the state of Washington,
and will honestly and faithfully
and will honestly and faithfully
perform the duties of the position of
perform the duties and the positions of
Finance Director
Finance Director
of the City of Port Orchard, Washington,
of the City of Port Orchard, Washington,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
I need you to sign your life away there. And I'll file it with county. Sworn in?
Leaving already? Beating out the door.
Work is done here. See you tomorrow.
Maybe.
All right, we are into our next business item, item 7B. Adoption of a resolution fixing the date of a public hearing on a petition to vacate a portion of Bay Street. Clerk Reinerson.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Council. So applicants Ann Schnitzer, manager of the Marley Apartments, submitted a request to vacate a portion of the city right-of-way, a small portion of Bay Street. This vacation is required to clean up the encroachment so the city can receive from WashDOT a certification of right-of-way for the Bay Street pedestrian pathway. The property to be vacated is approximately 407 square feet. Chapter 35.79 RCW requires the city to adopt a resolution setting the date and time of a public hearing to hear and determine the petition to vacate the city's right-of-way. Staff is seeking direction from the council as to when they want to hold a public hearing to vacate the proposed city right-of-way. Upon adoption of this resolution, staff will post proper notices of the date and time of the hearing and provide notice to adjacent property owners. Staff recommends the council adopt a resolution setting the date and time of the of the hearing on the petition to vacate a portion of the city's right-of-way at Bay Street to be held on Tuesday, October 24th, 2017, at the regular council meeting, and directing the proper posting of notices of the hearing.
Mr. Diener.
Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution setting the public hearing for October 24th, 2017, to occur during the regular council meeting on a petition to vacate a portion of city's right-of-way on Bay Street.
Second.
Got a second by Councilmember Cachardi. Discussion or questions? Yes, Mr. Chang.
I'm wondering if someone like maybe Mark can walk us through the subject plot plan and just explain the parcel that we're looking at.
Well,
As I read
it's
it,
the
it's where
frontage
the
on Bay
building
Street
is.
and the corner, 400 square feet of the corner of the Marley Apartments was built in the right-of-way in 1960. Yeah,
We're talking
1960.
about the land underneath the front portion of the building.
Correct, that fronts the street. Yeah, it was built in the right-of-way. And so for us to get our funding for our pathway project, we have to have all the encroachments in our right-of-way resolved. So that's what this vacation is there. She's purchasing the property from the city, this 400 square feet, 407 square feet from the city.
And this was identified when we first started talking about Pocket Park development as well.
Yeah.
There'll be a number of, I think there's 3 encroachments along the pedestrian pathway that will have to have similar conversations, whether they're vacated or whether the building is removed. But this is the, up through to get certification for segment 3. This is the one encroachment. So once we complete this encroachment, we'll be able to get us right-of-way certification for segment 3, which allows us to then, when we get the plans approved, go to add for segment 3. Because we have the Titus, Quisenberry, and Young and Nam easements complete.
Mr. Quasi, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted clarification that the action that is before us is setting a public hearing, not debating the issue of whether we
Yeah,
should sell or not.
You're
So-
absolutely correct. Setting the public hearing for the actual action, which is on October 24th. So further questions? Okay, so voting on adoption of a resolution setting the public hearing for October 24th, 2017 to occur at our next regular council meeting on the petition to vacate a portion of the city's right-of-way on Bay Street. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the hearing has been set. We are on to 7C, adoption of a resolution fixing the date for a public hearing for the city to council to vacate a portion of Rockwell Avenue. Clerk Reinerson, so this is the other side of this property.
And I guess before Brandy jumps in, so this particular vacation isn't required for the certification because it's not actually part of the project. This is the north portion of Rockwell that, as part of our project, in clearing the encroachment that you previously heard, there's also, with that, a parking space was purchased by the city because it was through a temporary construction easement. And so the owner of the apartment complex, having been reimbursed for that loss of the use of that stall, is looking to gain back some permanent parking that's on her property rather than just parking in the right-of-way where it's not, given. So this is, although connected, it's not specifically required as part of the project.
Go ahead, Brandy.
So, in 2006, the City Council approved a contract with Washington State Department of Transportation to enhance the Bay Street, which has been retitled to the Bay Street Pedestrian Pathway. As the city embarks on the finalizing another phase of the project, it was determined that a portion of the city's right-of-way should be vacated to provide the best option for constructing this phase of the pathway. Staff has determined the following with regard to the proposed street vacation. And just to point out, I am going to read this because our CWs does state that staff has to provide this to council before you guys can enter a decision of whether to hold a public hearing. So the area to be vacated is the northerly 6 feet measured south from the OHWM.
Ordinary high water mark.
of the remaining westerly half of Rockwell right-of-way. The Marley Apartments was built in 1960 to 1961 and uses the westerly half of the Rockwell right-of-way for access to their covered parking. It appears that the easterly half of the Rockwell right-of-way was later vacated as a function of the Holiday Inn Hotel developed, now Comfort Inn, in the 1980s. This action created the resilient situation that the primary use of this remaining Rockwell right-of-way is by the Marley Apartments for vehicular access to the apartment parking. B, the area in question was originally vacated by the city some time ago and just recently purchased at the appraised fair market value. C, there are no public utilities or services within the proposed vacated area. D, the area sought to be vacated is not needed for public purpose and it will be for private use. The remaining Rockwell right-of-way will be for access to the future Rockwell Waterfront Park parking spaces. E, the area sought to be vacated is not in any of the city's planning documents. And finally, the proposed vacation area is not needed for any future city use. Chapter 35.79 RCW requires the city to adopt a resolution setting the date and time of a public hearing to hear and determine the petition to vacate the city's right-of-way. Staff is seeking direction from the council as to when they want to hold the public hearing to vacate the proposed right-of-way. Upon adoption of this resolution, staff will post proper notices of the date and time of the hearing consistent with Port Orchard Municipal Code, Chapter 0.08. Staff recommends the council to adopt a resolution setting the date and time of the public hearing on the petition to vacate a portion of the city's right-of-way at Rockwell Avenue to be held on Tuesday, October 24th, 2017 at the regular council meeting and directing the proper posting notices of the hearing.
Yes, Councilmember Lucarelli.
I move to adopt a resolution setting the public hearing for October 24th, 2017 to occur during the regular council meeting on a petition to vacate a portion of the city's right-of-way at Rockwell Avenue.
Second.
Councilmember Diener, or Donnell, excuse me, the other D. Seconded that motion. And Mr. Clausen?
Just, there's something in my memory banks that I don't remember the specifics, but it's very unique to public rights of way that terminate in salt water. I just want to make sure that legal counsel has looked at those issues to make sure that we're,
Indeed, we are in compliance with this resolution.
okay, thank you.
I didn't hear what you said.
Go ahead.
I said the city staff did look into the impact of being near the water, and this resolution is in compliance with law.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Shank?
Building on that question, I'm wondering if we may be able to get a picture by the time of the hearing so we can see the area that we're talking about. From the map, it looks like it slopes down to the water, so I'm wondering, are we potentially giving up water access or privatizing what could be access to the water?
I think I can answer that, Rob. So if you were to look at Google Earth, you'd find that this area that's being vacated has 2 trucks parked in it right now. And then right at the ordinary high water market, it comes in and then it goes over by the building. So really it's just going to be used for what it's being used. It's kind of old worn out asphalt. And the reason we only did the 60 feet south from the ordinary high water mark is then aligning our RCO park plan that provides those 3 parking spaces that will be there. And then in the RCO park, that's where the Sandy Beach is adjacent to. It's not this portion. So
Brandy's got a new light.
Try and Google Earth it, but
She's got a new laptop.
Yeah, like I said, if you Google Earth it, I think in the current Google Earth image, there's like a black truck and then a trailer or something that's in the image. So this vacation has been coordinated with the RCO park plan.
So we're vacating the park beyond what our needs are for the park access. And then we've acquired the park property. And in essence, we impacted their parking when we're going to impact their parking with the development of our park. And so I think this is a good
And the
good
pathway
gesture
project.
to not impact their parking to allow them the parking that they need.
Okay.
Right, and I would also say, Fred, if you go down there, I believe all of this area, I believe, has big rocks on it. It's not a sandy beach at all.
Right, the sandy beach is.
Is the
part
is the property that
park
we've
property.
just acquired, that
Right.
we're gonna build the park on.
And the revenue generated by both of these vacations will go back into the Bay Street Pedestrian Pathway Fund, at least that's my understanding, to help compensate for the money that went out to compensate for the loss of use of the parking stall.
And as Mr. Clausen stated earlier, this is just the motion to set the hearing date for this public hearing. So, further questions? We have a motion and the second on the table, and we'll be voting on the resolution to set the public hearing for this matter on October 24th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We are on to 7D, adoption of a resolution approving a contract with Puget Sound Paving and Construction for the 2017-2018 roadway asphalt repair. Mr. Dorsey.
Thank you, Your Honor. Council members. Excuse me, I think my wife is giving me her cold. On September 8th, 2017, the City of Port Orchard's Public Works Department established a list of qualified contractors from the 2017 MRSC Small Works roster, see Exhibit A attached, for the main category roadway construction, repair, and maintenance, subcategory asphalt pavement roadway to repair the roadway in various locations throughout the city. Also on September 8, 2017, and pursuant to Resolution 019-17, are procurement policies and procedures, Section 5, bid procedures, small works bid procedures. The city's Public Works Department emailed a request for proposal for right-of-way asphalt repair from all MRSC small work roster contractors. 3 bids, including applicable taxes, labor, equipment, materials, and fees, were received prior to the September 19th, 2017 proposal deadline as follows. Lakeside Industries, $166,353.59. Puget Paving and Construction, $151,703.00. AA Asphalting, $250,473.00. On September 20th, 2017, the city's Public Works Department staff completed the MRSC mandatory bidder responsibility checklist and has determined that Puget Paving and Construction's bid of $151,703 was the lowest qualified bid. Additionally, the Public Works Department has confirmed that the bidding requirements for Public Works was followed. I'd like to note that we have $172,500 in the allocation. I believe that allocation actually is in the 17-18 budget, not just the 17 budget. In this project, we specified that 2 of the projects were to be done this year at minimum, with this contract being a 17-18 contract, because we know that Public Works has been slammed and this didn't get out as soon as we had wished. So staff recommends that the City Council adopt Resolution 04917, thereby approving contract 05517 with Puget Paving and Construction for the 17-18 roadway asphalt repair contract in the amount not to exceed $151,703, with contract term beginning October 2nd, 2017 and ending May 1st, 2018.
Mark Clausen.
Mayor, I move to adopt a resolution approving a contract with Puget Paving and Construction for roadway asphalt repairs in an amount not to exceed $151,703.
Second.
A second by Councilmember Diener. Mr. Clausen.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just wondered, Mark, if maybe you could provide the council with the streets that are going to be redone with this contract? I couldn't find it when I looked through the
You
document.
have the schedules, but there's no addresses on the
Yeah,
schedules.
it isn't really
Yeah.
paving, it's grind outs and patches throughout. the
Nice to
city.
know what roads we're going to grind out and patch.
Yeah.
Just more curiosity than anything.
Well, there's the complete contract has photographs and markings on the ground. It's what we've done in the past.
It didn't show up here.
Yeah, it wasn't put in the complete packet.
Yeah, if you could just get it to us, it'd be great.
The 2 major ones is the entrance down by Retzel down in Annapolis. There's a section there, and then a grind out that over the sewer main there in the one travel lane. And then on
St. Andrews.
St. Andrews there's the width of the road and about 30 feet long. There's a patch there that's failed that's gonna get ground out. So those are the two that need to happen before the end, this winter, and we hope that their weather permits them to get to more of those. The remainder, I can't speak to.
Yeah, the remainder throughout the city, they're basically where we've had a water main break or sewer break or valves, water, adjusting potholes. So it's basically, this is asphalt repairs. It's not complete streets. It's nothing that's in alignment with what we're trying to do ultimately with our pavement management system and, getting funding for those projects. This is purely maintenance.
I'm not trying to second guess, I'm just more curiosity than anything else.
So if you
It'd
can
just be nice to know.
email everybody out the list tomorrow, that'd be great.
Okay.
That would be great.
That way when people, Mr. Diener, you had a question?
He actually answered my question, which was this the beginning of that pavement management program that we got a presentation on some months ago, and he said it is not.
It is not.
It is not. No,
This is
there's,
cleanup of our list of outstanding potholes and patches out there that need to happen.
Thank you.
Yes.
As I heard, Mark, that this 151,000 or 172,000 that's in our budget is for both years. That's the total budget item? And not just
We have-
1 year's worth?
I believe we have double that, and this is this year's, it's a
Right, but it may
biennial
n-
budget.
But it may not be completed, but the biennial budget would have then 172 times 2, or about 340.
yeah, I was gonna, actually, just before this topic came up, I was gonna ask Noah to go online and quickly look at my budget, but I can't remember if this was just 17 or if there's money that we have in 18 as well.
I'll be surprised if it's 2 years allocation.
Lot for 2 years.
I don't believe that's correct. I think this fiscal impact statement is correct. It's the 2017 allocation, but we didn't get it all done in we're gonna run out of weather, and we should have another round of paving happening next summer,
Okay.
too.
Okay.
That would be the goal.
And I would say that perhaps we can double check that and have that information at our finance committee meeting on Friday.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
I could run down and grab my book right now and come back and answer it. So maybe I'll do it after this next item.
Okay, sounds good. So we have a motion and a second on awarding a contract with Puget Paving and Construction for roadway asphalt repairs in an amount not to exceed $151,703. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We are to 7E, approval of amendment number 1 to contract number 004-13 with Pacific Air Control for HVAC preventive maintenance. Mr. Dorsey.
Yes, thank you. On December 11th, 2012, the city entered into a contract with Pacific Air Controls for the HVAC preventative maintenance. In 2017, within the 17-18 budget, the city had set aside $100,000 for the replacement of boilers. On March 14th, 2017, the city selected Hermanson Company to provide the city with a boiler condition assessment. Their assessment stated that with maintenance and water treatment provided by a certified technician, the boilers would last another 15 to 20 years. On August 25th, 2017, Pacific Air Control provided the city with a quote for annual maintenance of the boilers by a Fulton certified technician. So staff recommends that the city council approve contract amendment 1 to contract C004-13 with Pacific Air Control in the amount of $9,929.90 for annual boiler maintenance, bringing their new annual contract amount to $18,231.42. And I want to, again, kind of reiterate that we had a change order that was in the consent agenda. It was just a change order for some work that needed to be done. Because this is a contract amendment, it had to go to council because this is going to be an annual, based on the Hermanson report, we need to do this boiler maintenance annually. So it's like getting your radiator flush type of a thing. So
Councilman Donald?
I move to approve, that's kind of poetic, I like that. I move to approve Amendment 1 to contract number C004-13 with Pacific Air Control Incorporated to increase their annual contract amount to $18,231.42.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Questions or comments?
Well, is this 18,000, is that a new annual fee, or is, okay.
It should be, this is
Each year
something we
we're gonna-
should be doing, what we discovered from the HVAC consultant that came and looked at the boilers. He said, it's been 17 years and we haven't done this, and
Right.
that's, so one contractor was saying we need to replace the boilers, another said, no, we just need to do proper maintenance of them and we'll get many more years out of them.
I understand that, it's just that we've got this $9,929 for annual boiler maintenance, bringing their new contract total to. So the total 18,000 is something we have to pay every year, not just the 9,000.
Well, we have 100,000 that's already in the budget.
Right,
And so my sense is that we'll be, for the 1920 budget, we'll move forward with this, $20,000 annual budget.
I believe your question is, we've got an $18,000 contract. Pacific Air maintains our overall system.
and this
they-
is just for the one piece, and
They
the rest
lack
of it's
the
from. Got it.
technical certification in-house to do the boiler work. So they're gonna hire a sub who's gonna do that work, and we need to add that to their
Okay,
contract.
got it, understand it better now, thank you.
Okay, other questions? Voting on amendment number 1 to contract number 004-13 with Pacific Air Control, Inc. to increase their annual contract amount to $18,231.42. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I'm looking down the agenda, and why I stuttered earlier is I see that Brandy and I did the homework for that retreat check-in. Did you happen to print that? Neither did I, so we'll bring that back another night. So, we did the work, we just didn't bring it with us tonight.
The what?
Item G, I was looking down at item G, and we were gonna talk about the retreat. So, anyway, we're at item F, which is approval of the September 8th, 2017 Urban Design Tour minutes. So Brandy put minutes together of the tour that we had, and since it was a public meeting, we need to approve those minutes. Mr. Dean?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the minutes of Friday, September 8th, 2017, the Urban Design Tour.
Motion a second to approve the minutes of the Urban Design Tour. Any discussion of that tour? I think we congratulated Nick and for his staff already for the work that they did with that. And I will also report that we had a kickoff last week with the next step of that process, which is the design review committee that is coming up, working on those new commercial standards. So, and it was a very good meeting. So with that, all in favor of approving the minutes from the Urban Design Tour, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion, one abstention, that's right. And I will add this discussion, I was gonna bring it to the work study, and I thought, well, I'll pick this off, but Brandy and I, like last year, went through all the action items that were on on our retreat docket, and said where we were at on the different things, what we've accomplished, and on timelines, and I just failed to bring it with me this evening, so it's not time sensitive. I'll bring it to a future council meeting. With that, we will go to council committee reports. So, Mr. Clausen, the Finance Committee?
Just said we have one scheduled for the 29th, 7:30 here in City Hall.
What was the answer? Oh, you just went and got the book. All right, we'll continue on. Economic Development and Tourism.
Yes, we have not met since our last meeting, and our next meeting will be October 9th at 9 o'clock here at Council Chambers. I will also announce that the next Roger Brooks webinar is next Wednesday October 4th, and that's at 8:30 here in council chambers.
Utilities Committee.
Yes, we met September 25th here at City Hall at 9:30. We had a pretty full agenda. We discussed the Annapolis Creek Culvert Replacement Project. We also talked about the Marina Pump Station final design. That's going to be, we're looking into that, and we found out a very disconcerting bit of information that we have 40 minutes until backup should all fail at the Marina Pump Station. It's a huge priority to get this taken care of, and we're moving forward with that. Well, number 7, we've got taking care of a motor pump clay valve repair on that. We're decommissioning wells 3 and 4. There's an update on that. And probably one of the most lively bits of discussion was on waste management. We are looking, we have a discussion that's ongoing about finding out if there are other options for the citizens of Port Orchard regarding their waste. And that will be something that the committee will be looking into, doing some research on. We've had a citizen who has a concern about paying for a service that he doesn't feel he needs. And many others have talked about that. But anyway, that's something that the committee itself will be doing some more research on, and then we'll bring it to a work study. Our next meeting is October 16th at 9:30 a.m. here at City Hall.
Sewer Advisory Committee, did you guys meet?
We did. We actually met, and we talked about the capital projects updates. And again, we were filled in a bit more about the East Port Orchard UGA discussion, and we looked into that. Our next meeting is going to be January 17th, 2018. It's coming up. That's 6:30 p.m., and that will be here at City Hall that day.
Okay, what was the date of that? Because I see the agenda says January 17th.
January 17th.
January 17th, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, maybe I heard wrong. Land use?
So we had a meeting on September 20th. It was a relatively late meeting. We had 6 or 7 items. The first item was a discussion of KeyBank and their parking lot lease. And they had asked that the city provide a letter of intent saying that we would roll over their lease, and we felt that that was premature. And we also looked at what they were requesting to lease and noted that some of that was right-of-way that might be useful, that their real concern probably is parking spaces, but the right-of-way might be useful in future development ideas. The next item was a request from KPUD, Public Utility District, for a request for a telecommunications easement across city property. The city property is located on Mitchell Avenue, and it was to provide service to a property fronting on Bethel. And we didn't have a problem with that, but we wanted them to move the connection or an easement over to the side of our property and not across the middle of the property, which would have encumbered our property. And so KPUD is going to come back with a proposed legal description for an easement. And then we discussed a request by Masa Wood-Fired Pizza, who would like to lease 640 Bay Street on a 3-month to 3-month agreement to vend food. And they would have a service trailer, picnic benches, umbrellas, lights, trash containers. And so we're going to coordinate on what that lease agreement would look like. We also talked about street vacations, Rockwell and Bay Street, which we talked about tonight. And we also talked about the vacation of Depot Street. Depot Street was originally vacated in the before 1960, as I understand it. And so this was really more of a cleanup than anything else, and we'll be seeing that. We also talked about complaints that the city has gotten on the Active Club. And so users are not cleaning up after themselves. Building keys are being lost. The building's not being secured. Cleaning supplies are going missing. And so Mark is going to take this one on. He said he was really looking forward to it. And he'll make this work. And the last scheduled item was a citizen's request for "Do Not Feed the Birds" sign at our waterfront. And so we looked into this a little bit, and there are some potential. Well, the USDA recommends that seagull droppings not be allowed to accumulate in an area where people might breathe that dust. but there's nothing from the health district on this. And so we're gonna look at requesting that birds not be fed, maybe with a little educational component about why you don't feed wild animals. And that was another gem that Mark gets to take on. And then we also finished our discussion with more of an update on the previous night's discussion about comprehensive plan land use map amendments. And so if you recall, there was some adjustments that Nick said he needed to make in the maps, and so we talked about those in a little more detail. The next meeting is October 18th at 7:30 at DCD. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay.
Thank you.
Lodging tax? Oops, go ahead.
No, I'll wait till we're done with the rest of them.
You can go now.
Well, I know that here, almost 4 years ago now, we started recording our committee meetings so that we can listen to them. And I'm one that does listen to the meetings. And I have a particular interest in listening to that sewer advisory tape, but I do not believe that we tape or record the sewer advisory. So I just want us to readdress that, because I very much would like to listen to that discussion. And at the least, I would like detailed minutes and not
Action minutes.
summary minutes, yeah.
If I may, oh, go ahead.
When we hold the meeting at the West Sound Utility Building, they do not allow us to tape it.
Again, I would like, that's a partnership, and I would like it readdressed.
I would like to add on to that, in that I was not aware that we were not permitted or allowed or encouraged to tape in that building. And I can say that the portion that I think Cindy summarized very nicely, there was the East Port Orchard UGA discussion. I felt uncomfortable during that portion. And I can fill you in later with the details. I don't know if you want to.
Then I would, if that's the situation, I would recommend moving the meetings to Port Orchard City Hall, where we are allowed
No
to
argument
record.
from me.
It's something I would like brought up again. However, we want to address that, perhaps it's something for the mayor, but
They are your committees, so if you want them recorded and if you, where you want to hold them is at your discretion, so.
Have they indicated why they don't want to record meetings? Okay. Well, I think that's a good discussion item with them.
I would support that as well.
Okay, lodging tax advisory?
Well, the committee actually met last Friday for about 3 hours. We listened to 9 applicants, discussed 12 applications. The amount that we've been allocated is about $91,000, and the total amount of the requests is $126,064. So were we to fund them all, we would only be able to fund 72%. That was the opening meeting, and we intend to have the discussion sometime next week. We're taking a poll to determine the evening.
All right, thanks for the update. Chimes and lights?
Yes, we had, again, a lively discussion. It was a great meeting this past Monday at 3:30 here at City Hall. Our first order was dealing with the lights and decorations. POPSA, in the past, was potentially going to be purchasing some lights to hang on Bay Street. They will no longer be looking into that because of liability issues, and so the committee will look into possibilities in the future, but we have a limited situation, as you well know, with the structures downtown being able to support the lights. However, we are moving back to what we've done in the past for decorations for the holidays, and we will be moving forward again with the garlands, the wreaths, and the lighting that we've used in the past, as well as POPSA hanging the icicle lights. We talked about the sound system for the Chimes and Lights event, and that is still undecided. We're moving forward with our advertising and working on our brochures, and working on volunteers. Our next meeting, we'll actually have two in October because it's very busy now. October 16th and October 30th are slated for 3:30 here at City Hall. Again, mostly logistics for the upcoming December 2nd Chimes and Lights event.
Okay. We're to outside agencies. I see a flyer here from Kitsap Transit for the Carlisle's 100th birthday party. So hopefully some of us can make it down to the waterfront on Saturday for that event. Other outside agencies, Beck, do you have anything from KRCC?
I have just a couple I would like to say. One is KRCC's legislative reception will be at McCormick Woods this year, so we won't have quite as far to drive.
Wow.
Is that bad?
It's November 9th. It's a Thursday.
Okay.
The orientation or pre-reception, I believe, starts at 4. We've allowed 2 hours for that. And we will be presenting to the entire councils the same presentations that we received at the KRCC retreat. So there will be a lot of information that you'll be given there, so that's good. The other thing that I did last Friday is I serve on the Olympic Peninsula's Regional Transportation Planning Organization, the Peninsula RPTO. And we met last week in Port Townsend, but we had the first of, I'm sure, many that we will see presentations on the Washington Transportation Commission's road usage fee study that they will be starting. So it was, that got a lot more dialogue and attention than the freight maps, you know. So anyway, so I think we will be hearing a lot more about that, and we will keep everyone posted.
Okay.
What was the time of the McCormick Woods?
The reception with the legislatures it starts at 6. The pre-meeting we do, I believe, is at 4.
And then AWC, or Association of Washington Cities, is having their regional meeting next Monday in Paulsbo, and I've registered myself for that, and Beck's also attending that, so it's nice that it's in Paulsbo, so we'll be there next Wednesday evening. Report of the mayor. Saturday, I won't be at the Carlisle celebration. Friday, I was fitted for my bunker gear and my air mask and all the other appropriate gear for firefighting. I'm at Fire Ops 101 on Saturday, and they promise they won't kill me, but we'll see. So I'll be at that, and I'll report back on how that went. So I get to do all kinds of life-saving activity, I'm told, and bunker and all this heavy gear.
So those of us that live in Port Orchard can sleep better Saturday night knowing that
you're
one
out
more
there.
trained individual.
You know, you want my son, not me. He's the EMT. You know? So, and then Tremont today, we had our weekly meeting. I don't attend all of them, but I don't know if you noticed in tonight's warrants, there was our 2 large checks in there, one to Active Construction and one to Berger Abram, paying for Tremont. And we were told today that the asbestos was being abated out of the Wet Apple building today. And maybe by the end of the week, first part of next week for sure, that house will finally come down. So there's been a lot of dirt removal on that corner, but they're getting tight to the house, and so it'll open that up a lot when that house is gone. So, you know, Mark has been subjecting himself to pain. He's been out driving in those backups at rush hour. I think he's just running late to work, and he goes out and gets in line, so he's got a good excuse, but he comes back to report how bad the traffic is. So we can, and we need to do a better job communicating that construction. For some reason, some folks still haven't figured out that it's there, and they, once you get off that off ramp and are in that backup, you're stuck. And so we need some more signage out on the freeway, and we're working towards that. So I
Do you know when that building will be coming down?
I think this week, I think. Yeah. And I believe Habitat's been inside the building and picked it pretty well clean.
I just noticed they had painted some
Yeah, I'm not sure.
on the buildings that kind of look like graffiti. I probably wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah, I think
So
it
they
might have
don't
been
want that.
graffiti.
Right.
The Habitat, actually, that was one of their more important requests for the garage doors, because they were new. So that was graffiti, that wasn't
Got it.
ACI.
Got it.
So I don't know if Habitat's gonna want them now.
Yeah, they have to paint
Paint
it.
over it?
I guess you can, but it's black and orange paint, so it was just pretty disturbing to see, so.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Definitely caught my eye.
yeah, caught mine too.
Must have-
So,
Probably was the skateboarder.
we've been chasing, the policeman trying to educate a skateboarder who thinks it's a good idea to ride through there too. So it's never a dull moment around here. So, department head reports. Mr. Dorsey, do you have anything for us?
I do, so I stand corrected. My staff report was correct. My statement was incorrect. Between just miscellaneous paver repair, that's a fairly small portion, 20,000 each year. The TBD fund, we've got about 200, so next year we've got 220,000 total. So we'll have to decide, you know, do we go and do some additional cleanup with that, or is that something that we parlay into, you know, put it towards a design that we could put toward the pavement management system? I don't know. I mean, that's kind of up to discussion at this point. We do have money in the budget that continues with maintenance.
So maybe it'll be an appropriate conversation, and you, maybe at the November work study from, we were gonna do, try to do a little strategic planning, and you make some recommendations, what direction, whether it's tackling something on our, out of our pavement management system with our own money. What I
that
guess
might
what
be too
concerns
soon.
me with the, you know, the stormwater money, where next year we're gonna put some of that to work. We've been accumulating it and shopping for grants and not competing well, and I hate to see that money not going to work. It would be my concern.
I guess it really depends on, this clears down our current list pretty well, so. But again, you know, 200,000, it sounds like a lot, but in the world of a road project. Now, we were gonna do Horseman with that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so we need to, so that's a good conversation, is maybe dusting off that pavement management list and what, you know, what that could do for us and where maybe it needs to go to, you know, in discussion with the council, so, in your spare time.
Right. But in the end of the day, we, you know, we still need, and that's what we're struggling with Horseman, is an actual, how do we do that? Do we do it as a grind out? We need a plan, so we get procurement, and so, yeah.
And while there's the need there, how many of our citizens are truly driving that road? Are it better served to do a grind out and a patch there? And so let's talk about that in October or November. So,
Other than that, unless you've got specific questions, I don't really have anything specific.
all right, there's plenty going on in Public Works, I know that. So, Noah?
Nothing further from me tonight, thank you.
Okay. Sharon?
I just wanted to mention that you'll recall the conversation about Salmonberry Road, and there's a drainage issue with one of the adjacent property owners. And the city attorney's office was in touch with the property owner to ask them to, you know, respectfully abate this nuisance water that's damaging the city road, and we have not heard anything back. So I have been in touch with city staff on the appropriate way to proceed, and the city attorney's office will be proceeding with the appropriate documentation to file with the court and to seek proper abatement.
Any
I'll keep you posted.
objections to us spending our abatement dollars that way? Because otherwise our roadway is going to flood again. And okay, so thank you for the check-in.
Yeah.
Clerk Reinerson?
I have nothing.
Okay. We are to our second citizen comment period. Anyone? Yes, sir.
I'd rather be home grading papers and getting ready for class tomorrow. And to follow up my discussion with your city council a couple of weeks ago, I am going to go ahead and set up an account with Waste Management because I don't want to pay the $500 a day fine that the city could impose on me should I choose not to. So financially, it doesn't make sense. But I would respectfully request that the city not ask me to change my basic pattern and habits of running my household so that I would be required to put out a trash can every 2 weeks that would be empty. That just doesn't seem to make sense. Also, during the committee hearing yesterday, your chairman of the Utilities Committee made some statements that if she were to go back and check the record from the city council meeting, the last city council meeting, were totally erroneous and false. So much so that if I were actually doing what she was accusing me of doing, and I've transcribed those notes for you if you need them, your statements from yesterday morning, I could be arrested, fined, and thrown in jail. You said, and this is your quote, you said, he said he's almost doing complete recycling and he's taking it to his school where he works at. You followed that up with, and he said he came to the council and that is what he actually said to us. He's doing almost 100% recycling and it's taking it to work with him. That's not a misstatement. That's a reiteration of the point several times, which is completely erroneous and inaccurate. And I really resent that statement because I could go to jail, I could lose my job over that. And you treated it as if it were some kind of misstatement. Not so. Okay? Also, for purposes of your understanding, my recycling goes to the transfer stations. Sometimes that's once every 6 months, sometimes every 10 months, depending on how much I accumulate. And it goes to different stations depending on which direction I'm going. And it just so happens that the one in Purdy or in Olalla is closed on Wednesday and Thursday. So if I happen to be going that direction, it has to go to Purdy. Or if I'm going out toward Bremerton, it's out at the one in Bremerton. And occasionally, even if I'm headed into Tacoma, I'll drop it at one of the transfer stations down there. So it's not being taken to school at all, under any circumstances. Also, I guess I would suggest that if you really want to represent someone's statements correctly, the information was there. I went back onto the city's website, reviewed the tape of the city council meeting. I also went online and listened to your comments, your recorded comments yesterday afternoon after the meeting. And I found them to be, there's a complete disconnect between what I said and what you quoted me as saying. I don't find that funny at all.
Thank you for your comments. Others wishing to comment this evening? Okay, our meeting is adjourned.